to another session of the Design Thinking Content Series. So this, normally what we do is we try and make it fun, try and make it a discussion, talk about topics that are related to design thinking, so we can all share ideas, right? Today we'll be talking about observation versus interpreting what you see or your observation. So we have Francisca here who will be taking us through the session, and I want us to partake and let's see what we leave with. Okay, so let's welcome Francisca to take us through the session. All right.
And I'll be discussing the topic observation versus interpretation when it comes to the design thinking process. Now, first of all, before I even start anything, I want to know why do you guys think that it's even important to define the difference between observation and interpretation when it comes to carrying out research? Do you feel like there's a necessity to do that? If you go and observe, do you have to interpret the data that you go out to observe, or you can just leave it and write what you think?
I think it's
why do people care about differentiating between observation and interpretation?
because you need to observe so that you can know. If you interpret, you'll be able to know what your customers or those you went to talk to really want, so that you can input it. So you have to observe in order for you to be able to interpret it. Yeah.
Well, I think it kind of goes both ways. I mean, if you have some idea ahead of time as to what you're going to see, you won't see the things that are in front of you. So you can't put the interpretation before the observation. And that's really tricky to do sometimes. You know, you have it fixed in your mind what this thing's going to be like even before you go, and then you don't even see what's right in front of you because it's not what you're expecting. So I'm seeing these are two completely different things.
Okay.
And if you try to jump to interpretation before you do observation, you could be in a world of hurt.
Okay, any more suggestions? Okay, so I put together two common definitions for observation and interpretation just by using dictionary.com. And according to dictionary.com, my first definition for observation is an act or instance of noticing or perceiving. So right now, I noticed that Claudia is very quiet looking at me. That's just me observing Claudia. And then an act or instance of regarding attentively or watching. I can see that Dr. Jackson is really regarding me attentively. That's just me observing him doing that. Now, when it comes to interpretation, on the other hand, is giving or providing a meaning to the act that's actually going on. So just like I said, I can tell that Dr. Jackson is looking at me, but then I could interpret that he's trying to understand what I'm saying by looking at me attentively, or by you looking at me attentively, you're trying to understand the words that are actually coming out from my mouth. Now, so in order to make this more interactive, I put together a couple of activities. Now, for the first activity, I want us to take 5 to 10 minutes and go outside. And when you go outside, I want you to take your time and observe something interesting, something that just catches your eye. Just take your time and observe it for like 5 to 10 minutes, like I said. Take pictures of what you observe, and then bring back and we'll discuss your observation. And then after that, we'll discuss interpretations, how you interpret what you actually saw. So can we get up and go and do something like that?
You'll try.
So for our first volunteer, basically this is the question you are first supposed to answer based on the observation you made outside. So at a basic, most descriptive level, what do you observe happening in your image? What do you observe happening in the image? Using the definition of observation, not interpretation, what do you observe going on in your image? Who wants to be our first volunteer? Who wants to be the first person to share their picture? What they observe happening. Come on guys, don't be shy. Okay, Claudia. Let's all come around and see Claudia.
Let's come around and see.
Is she going to tweet it so we can all see it?
Yeah. Can you tweet it? Are you on Twitter?
observed that this
Okay.
lady here is very happy with whatever she's doing. That's what I observed.
Okay.
As you can see, she's laughing and she's so happy. Yes.
Okay, so Claudia has a picture of two girls talking. Now, Claudia said she observed that this lady is very happy talking to someone. Would you say this is more of an observation or an interpretation? Because I just see two girls basically. What I observe is two girls, one of them wearing a black and white shirt, and one of them wearing a pink and black shirt. So what's the difference between what Claudia said and what I said? Any suggestions? Okay.
I think from her observation, she's trying to give extra information on what she's seeing, and that's interpretation.
Okay.
That's
Any,
observation.
any more ideas? Yeah?
The fact that she said that she's happy is her interpretation because she saw her smiling, and then the observation is what you see on the surface.
Exactly. So her observation should have been she saw someone smiling. Therefore, she can say that the person is happy. Any other ideas? Okay, let's have our next volunteer.
Next volunteer.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you.
Dr. Jackson, you want to share
Okay,
anything?
so I have just tweeted to Ashesi Design, Ashesi Content Series, and Design
Okay.
Thinking.
Okay.
Okay, and I have a photo here on my camera, or you can pull it up on yours,
Okay.
of our fountain that's in front of our engineering building here. And it looks to me as if the water is not equal along the whole surface. That it's high on this side and low in the middle and high on the other side. So I'm surprised by that.
Okay.
That's my observation. I'm not giving an explanation for why it is that way, but my picture is showing me something that surprises me.
So that's your observation. That's your image. Does anyone have anything opposing about what he said? Do you think that is an observation? Or because he mentioned how he sees that at some points the water is high and then other points it's low. Do you think you should have just observed the fountain instead of going deeper? Do you think that would be an interpretation of what's actually going on? Or it's just a general observation that anyone can make when they look at the fountain?
Yeah.
I think it's a general observation. Why?
Because he's just describing with adjectives, just the surface. It's not going deep.
He's not going deep into what's there. Any other suggestions? Okay, so now in order to actually go deeper into to change from an observation to an interpretation, you can ask yourself some questions. You can start by asking why then did you make that observation? Why, like how Claudia saw the two girls smiling or talking. Why are they smiling? What could be the possible reason? So you start with the why, a why question, and then you can move on to, okay, so like I said, possible interpretations. Oh, she's happy. She just told him, I got a ticket to fly to the US, so, you know, I'm very happy. That's just one possible interpretation. Or she got a new...
Trump won't let you in.
Or to really push students or to push people to actually go deeper into it, you could ask them, why then wasn't her other friend laughing with her? That's like another view of the whole situation. That's when you're coming to an actual subjective interpretation. Everyone has their different view of what's actually going on. I don't know if any of you have an example of a picture that can bring about such subjective interpretation of what was going on in the scene so that we can look at it and like explore. Does anyone think they have such a controversial picture to share?
There's the one that's the old lady and the young girl that are on the same line drawing. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have. Let's see something. Okay. This is supposed to be later on in my presentation, but let's look at this. What do you guys see? What do you observe in this picture? Sorry, it's coming up. What do you see? Just on the surface. Just on the surface. What do you observe? Yes, Claudia.
You see mountainous positions, like the mountains, a lot of mountains everywhere.
See a lot of mountains. Okay. Anyone else seeing something?
It looks like some ancient archaeological.
Asian,
Yeah.
archaeological.
Like discovery.
Anyone say something?
I see line shapes.
Land shapes. Interesting. Any more ideas? What? Rocks.
Yeah.
So that okay.
See
Okay.
buildings.
Buildings.
I see clouds.
Clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is just like on the surface what everyone is observing. Now, what do you see?
I see a face.
Anyone see anything different from what they observed after? Yeah, Claudia, I can see something interesting. What do you see now?
I see a face with some long nose, closed mouth and closed eyes.
Okay, anyone else? Oh, we are all now seeing the face with a long nose and everything. Brenda,
Why did
I
you
see.
see that at first?
What?
When you first moved there, I think
You were just seeing mountains.
No, when you moved to that next picture, I still saw like borders.
Oh, you didn't see the face.
I didn't see the face. Then when you when someone said they saw
They saw
the
the
face, so
face.
I had to pay like
Closer attention.
Close attention. When you moved to the previous slide, like then still I paid close attention and they saw the face.
Now you can see the face in the first one.
Yeah.
I should go to the previous one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can now you can see the face. Okay, but I have a question. What could be the possible interpretation for this? At first we were all seeing just mountains, and now suddenly we are seeing a face in the mountains. Like, how do you interpret that? Like, what could possibly be going on as to a face carved in the middle of somewhere on the mountain? If it was carved, then that's just my interpretation of what's going on. Any suggestions? Let's make this a bit more controversial.
Controversial.
Yeah. Any ideas as to why a face, as you observed everyone, could possibly be carved in the mountain?
Maybe someone was buried and a popular person, and they just tried to design a mountain like
I see.
that person.
Okay, any other ideas?
There's a formation in New Hampshire. It's an old man in the mountain. and it is like this, except you don't have to turn 90 degrees to see it. And so people have wondered, how did this erode to that shape? Because there was no sculptor that made that shape, yet it looks like a face. Yeah.
Any other ideas? The first thing you observe about the picture is it's creepy.
No, the guy's face, like a face being eroded into a wall.
You just find it creepy.
That's super creepy.
Okay, so from these two activities we've had, we realized that by observing, we just appeal to when we're observing something, most of the time we appeal to any of our five senses. Like when we went outside, we appealed to outside. We saw this, it's a picture of it, we came to say this is what we observed, this is what we saw. Okay, anyone really do with the other one, like smell? No one talked about smell and stuff like that, but sometimes you can observe by smelling, you can observe by hearing, you can observe by etc. The other kind of senses. Now, when it comes to interpretation, that's when you try to explain what you actually felt. You try to appeal to the five senses. You make a meaning of what happened using your five senses. So like Claudia said, I'll keep on using Claudia's picture because it's easier to explain. So like Claudia saw, she just saw two girls. One was smiling, the other was frowning. Nobody knows why. She appealed with her sight. She saw two girls talking. And then when we came here, we tried to interpret what was actually going on. We said that, maybe one of the girls, she's just happy because of something, and the other one is probably jealous, so she's not happy. But she's just trying to talk to her and make it seem like she's happy, etc. However, the question is, why then is this even important when carrying out research? Now, sometimes, like Mr. Jackson said right from the beginning, before you even go on the field to carry out something, you have a different perception in your mind altogether. I can think that, maybe, like in my OD class today, we all said that people have observed that, or people have heard that all airways like to make noise, or all airways are aggressive. So So I take a month, I go and live in an area town somewhere, I observe them, and then when I come back, I actually interpret my actions, and I say, wow, I saw these people fighting, so they're very aggressive, something, blah, 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 and you actually confirm what's going on. And it's not all the time that you actually confirm. Sometimes there'll be other counterattacks to what was actually going on when you observed and how you interpret it. And this is why it's very necessary to first to go out on the field yourself, to observe what's going on, and then interpret it in your way. Interpretation, first of all, is very subjective. You can say one thing, someone else can say another thing, and then it brings about different perspectives that can actually help you when you're leading on to the other subsequent processes in design thinking. So we all have different ideas. Now, how do we ideate and try to actually come up with a general concept to help solve all of us our problems, basically? That's the basic view. Now, even though, how do I put this, sorry? Even though sometimes people might say that even observation is subjective, I don't think so. I'm not sure about the rest of you, but observation is just basically appealing to your five senses. So aren't we all supposed to see or smell or hear the same thing? I mean, do you guys have any, do you oppose to that most of the time we are all supposed to observe the same thing and then the differences come out when we are interpreting it? Okay.
I think like, even while we are observing it, our brain is also interpreting at the same time. So the two are kind of like interconnected. It's not very easy to separate both of them, because when you see something, or you try to connect it to something you have already like seen or experienced. Yes. So everyone has something that they will connect what they have seen to. So in that way, the observation would differ in a sense, you get it? Since the interpretation is also happening at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, I was actually coming to that, but then I guess you said it for us. But sometimes it's very difficult to clearly distinguish, because you can't go, let's say, as I don't know if you guys know ethnographic research, most of you get. So for an ethnographer, he has to go try and live with the people, basically empathize with them, and then observe what's going on, and then he interprets it in his way. Now, for an ethnographer, don't you feel like, basically after some time, in the process of observing, he would also be interpreting what's actually going on. And our brain works in such a way that sometimes it's very difficult to clearly distinguish what you are observing versus what you are interpreting. So in the process of observing, you just be quickly, and we saw this in Claudia's example. She observed and quickly just interpreted what was going on, that she was happy. She didn't even say the fact that she was smiling, and that's just the work of the brain. As he said, it's as a result of categorization. She's seen so many people smile, and they were always happy when they smile, so she saw her smiling and quick, she's happy. What if she was smiling, she wasn't smiling, she was just showing her teeth or something? I mean, isn't that another way of interpreting it, etc.? So what then is what are the strengths of observation as opposed to other methods of research, and then why is it necessary to interpret it? Now, when you're observing, it allows you, what then are the strengths of observation and interpretation? Let me put it that way. So it allows you to have insights for certain contexts. I don't know if you understand that, because we all have different interpretations, and it might be based on different contexts. So it allows you to actually have an insight for certain contexts, relationships, and behavior of people and the environments that we live in. And then it can provide you information on what was actually previously known before you went to carry out that research. And I explain this later on. And then it's very necessary when coming up with a project, when designing a project, coming up with a business, coming up with anything basically, etc. It's very necessary to actually go on the field, to connect with the people, because sometimes what they say is very different from what's actually going on. And those of us who did FDE can attest to this. You go and they'll tell you they're okay, they don't need the help, but they are struggling. You can see it clearly that you observe them that there's some struggle going on. But then sometimes as a matter of pride and stuff like that, they'll tell you that they don't know. Now the weakness, however, with observation is very time consuming. Because you have to stand there for a long time, and then until you capture something that you find intriguing, you're basically not going to leave. Because it's like you have something in your head you're trying to challenge, before you actually go on the field. And until you capture something to oppose that or to confirm with that, or to confirm that you are not going to leave the place. Another thing is observation basically relies on our memory. So if I go and observe something and then a week later I have to come back to interpret it, and I didn't take pictures or anything, I don't remember, we can give false interpretations. And this happens all the time. We see it in the news, everything, like etc. I don't know if recently I don't know if you guys saw was a short video of Trump and his wife when he was giving his speech, and then his wife, he turned around to smile at his wife, and then she smiled, and as soon as he turned around, she just frowned again. That was a basic observation, and a lot of interpretations came out from it. And it could be false. Some of them could be false, some of them could be true, but we'd never know because we don't live with them, and we don't know what's going on in their lives. So that's just another example of using observation and interpretation as a way of collecting research when it comes to design processing. So, okay, let's look at this. Now, this is our second activity. I want you guys to pay close attention to this picture and then tell me what's going on, what you guys see, what you think is going on in this picture. Yes, what is it? Snakes. Snakes.
It's moving.
Okay, what do you see? Snakes.
It's moving.
You see something moving?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's moving.
Anything else?
Yeah, it's moving.
It's moving.
Snakes moving.
How do you see snakes moving? Anything? You can't see it moving.
Look at it well.
Look at it
Actually,
for
focus on a circle, on one particular circle, and just look around with your peripheral vision. You see it's moving.
How is it moving?
Okay.
You can see it. You can see it.
That's what we see.
You see it moving.
Like focus on one circle and use your peripheral vision to look around.
Any other ideas? Do you all think it's moving? You don't see it moving.
I see an animal with eyes.
Hey! That's interesting. What sort of animal do you see there? Mammal, insects?
Mama.
A mammal, wow, that's interesting. Anything else? Anything else about the picture?
You can see it.
Okay. So the truth about the picture is, Gerald almost got it. If you focus on one picture instead, you realize that if you focus on one circle, you realize that the picture is not moving. That's the first observation. The trick is to actually focus on one circle. You take your time to focus on the others, you realize that the picture is actually not moving. It's just a picture of circles. Can we all take our time to look at it well? Do you see it, or it's still moving for you guys? Exactly.
It's moving.
It's still moving for me.
I can decide when it's moving. Like I can tell. How do I decide? If I focus on one circle, it won't move. But then, if I just look at it, I can see everything moving.
Okay, let's look at this one. What do you see?
Bigfoot.
What do you see? What do you observe? You see a sight.
I see a person walking.
You see a person walking? Okay. You see letters. But what's your interpretation about, like, from what you see? You see letters, so what could possibly be the interpretations of letters put together like that?
Code. Someone is coding something.
Someone is coding something. Well, that's interesting. Anything else?
Somebody is typing.
Somebody is typing. Okay, someone said they see someone moving. Someone, why do you think so?
Yeah, because I see a foot, I see a leg, I see the arm, the back, the head.
Wow. The person sees a human shape moving in the form of alphabets. Any other opposing thoughts?